Could you explain if, and if so, in which way, one can be aware of one's true nature whilst engaging in activities that require one's attention and or concentration on objects of experience?
Okay, so if consciousness is separate from its objects, it's only possible to pay attention either to the object or to consciousness. However, there's a clause. If the movie and the screen are two different objects, then you have to choose which to pay attention to, either the movie or the screen. However, if the movie and the screen are the same thing, you can watch the movie and see the screen simultaneously.
I see.
Let me give you an experiential pathway to illustrate what I've just said. Would you agree, Johan, that your only knowledge of the world is actually your perception of the world?
Yes.
Sight, sounds, tastes, textures, and smell. Now, if we agree that all we know of the world is in fact the perception of the world, we cannot really say that we know our perceptions of the world, because we're saying that we don't experience that world. So what we're really saying is not, I know my perceptions of the world, but rather I know perceptions. Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
I have knowledge only of perception, not knowledge of perceptions of the world.
Yes.
Yeah? Now, if we say, I only have knowledge of perceptions, using exactly the same line of reasoning, we cannot really say that we have knowledge of perceptions, because we're saying that all the knowledge we have of perceptions is knowledge. It's not knowledge, just as it's not perceptions of the world, it's just perception. So it's not knowledge of perceptions, it's just knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
So what is that knowledge? It's consciousness.
Yeah.
So right now, you are not experiencing the world. You are not knowing the world. You are knowing your perceptions of the world. In fact, you're not knowing your perceptions of the world. You're just knowing perception. But in fact, we can't even say that you're having knowledge of perceptions. All we can say is that you're having knowledge. You're knowing. So right now,
Mm-hmm.
in the midst of this experience, all that you are knowing is knowing. And you are that knowing. It's the next stage where we don't presume the duality between awareness and its content.
Yes. So that would refer to the last step, if you will, in the different steps you discern in your teaching. Whereas, and that's another question, whereas you say that the lifting of, in which the last step would be, in my words, the lifting of the distinction between awareness on the one side and the body-mind world on the other side.
Yes.
At which point it becomes clear that oneself, awareness, appears as the body-mind world.
Yes.
And my question would be, is that, could you also describe that as just realizing that one is reality as such?
Yes. That all there is reality, that reality is indivisible, its nature is consciousness, and you are that. In other words, all there is knowing only knowing. And you can check this in your experience, Johan. You just ask yourself, this is a shortcut to the line of reasoning I gave you earlier. Just ask yourself at any moment of experience, am I knowing anything other than the knowing of experience in this moment? And at every moment, all there is the knowing of experience. And we cannot even say it's the knowing of experience, because what we're saying is that it's only knowing. The of experience is a concept. It's not the knowing of anything, because we never experience that something. All we experience is its knowing. So
in all its diversity. Yeah.
Knowing is all that is ever known. And then we have to ask the question, and so that gets rid of the object. When I say all we ever know is knowing. So there's no longer an object of knowing, but we still remain as its subject. So then we ask the question, but what is it that is knowing? Knowing. Is knowing known by something other than itself? Mm-hmm. What would that be? Mm-hmm. It would have to be non-knowing, and therefore it could not know. So it is knowing that is knowing. That's all we can say for sure.